Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
And my pleasure to welcome once again the chair of the Paraparaumu Raumati Community Board, Kathy Spiers. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning, John.
And it has been so good recently. The weather has been something to rejoice in. I do hope that you've been getting out and about within your social distancing, of course, and enjoying this wonderful autumnal weather that we're enjoying at the moment.
Yes, I went for a drive down Paraparaumu Beach yesterday, and McLean Park was really packed, and people everywhere. It was great to see, but young teenagers in their small top shorts, and I thought it looked like the middle of summer.
Well, that's wonderful. Okay, so certainly life seems to be getting back to some semblance of normal, whatever that means these days. Is that the case for the community board as well?
Yes. We've got our next date set for our next community board meeting, which is Tuesday the 30th of June. It's to be held in the Capital Community Centre. And at the meeting, we've got Wayne Hasty coming up from Greater Wellington Regional Council to talk about the buses, the timetables, the routes, the bus shelters, and everything around that, to see if the routes are the correct ones and how the community is feeling about that. So that's really good. And we've got Christine Tilley from Kapiti Age Concern coming to talk to us about the social isolation. Also, we will be having a presentation on the road safety improvements from Raumati Beach. So there's lots going on.
Yes.
And we're just finding ways of communicating that with the community at the moment.
Well, there are three very important subjects that you raised there. And starting with the first, there is supposed to be a review of the bus routes and whether they still apply. Of course, the roading network is changing. Our community is changing in terms of expansion, and possibly they should be serviced by bus routes. And that's quite an important conversation for the community to have.
It is, John, absolutely. And I do know there is something out there at the moment that the Greater Wellington are doing a survey or something similar. Our feeling is that maybe the community board, how can we help communicate and engage with our communities as well as how they would like to see this happen. As with the relocation on State Highway 1 going on at the moment, coming up Poplar Ave, maybe the buses could come up Poplar Ave and go along the old main road south and pick up residents from Leicester Ave and all around there who walk over across from Raumati Bridge, which would be much easier for them to just get a bus straight down to the railway station or to the shops.
And make that bridge, give a purpose for that bridge as well. I sort of wondered what it's doing at the moment. However, that would be a very, very good idea. And also you mentioned Christine Tilley and Age Connect Kapiti. I imagine the last 7 weeks have been a very interesting exercise and certainly would justify the council's investment in Age Connect Kapiti, because social isolation in the last 7 weeks is something that I think many people have been concerned about.
Oh, absolutely. And I know that I've been here myself for the last 7, maybe 8 weeks, because the older people went in on the Saturday prior to the lockdown. And I'm quite used to being on my own anyway, but I thought after all of these weeks being on my own, I thought, gosh, I'm so thankful that I had not got a disability, because that would be so much harder if you're isolated on your own and you have a disability. So it's going to be good to hear from Christine and how it's affected the older people as well, especially with being isolated, because there's about 3,000 or 4,000 households in Kapiti of people living on their own. That's a huge number.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned about getting out amongst the community. I have to commend you on your Facebook page, which over the years has been very lively. It's on occasions been controversial, and it's certainly a great way of finding out what's happening in the community. But I'm sure that it's a two-way process as far as you're concerned.
Yes. We had a meeting last week with our community board, and we requested council to see if the Paraparaumu Raumati Community Board are able to have a link, our Facebook page to have a link on the council's website, so that makes it easier for people when they go, they know exactly where to go on the council website and have a link on their homepage down the bottom there to link onto the community board Facebook page so we can have some kind of engagement with the community at the moment, because at the moment we all, it's been difficult to have this communication. Lots of people don't have email anyway and websites, but access to the internet. But at least it's a start. Once we get to level 1, the community board's going to be having some pop-ups in our communities. At Kena, Raumati Beach, Raumati South, up the village, to engage with our communities, see what they would like around in the communities. We know at the moment at Raumati Beach they would love a bike stand, some hanging baskets with flowers, some pretty recycling bins, some art. So the community board would like to engage with our communities, the business community and the residents, to see, how are we able to, put these in place. The community boards did have some funding, localities money, $30,000 for each community board in the budget, but that was in your plan, but that was taken out to reduce the rates. But there is the events fund there that is, I asked for it to repurpose that back for the localities, but it was turned down. So now, but talking to the communities, we can find some innovative ways how to, raise some money to get these things. There's more than one way to raise some funds. So,
it's interesting you mentioned the events fund. This is the major events fund, which I imagine has got some money left. Costello didn't happen. Flair, the floral festival that I was so looking forward to, that hasn't happened as well. I imagine there must be some money left in that, Kathy.
Yes, there is some funds left in the events fund, and council is looking at repurposing it. Maybe it could be rolled over to the next year. So I was just trying to grab an opportunity as the funding was there, as you do.
As you do.
But, there's other businesses, and there's important, keeping the businesses, our local communities going and their businesses going, and employment at the moment. So it'll be repurposed.
I'm sure it will. And I'm sure that you'll be looking for opportunities as you do, Kathy. And it's been lovely talking to you once again. Thank you so much for your company here on Beach FM.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
106.3 Beach FM.